What up? What's going on, America?
Morning.
And welcome to the newest episode of the podcast. All right, we got a lot of things to talk about today, but first, I did the little drum solo beat, and I'm extremely sore. All right, you've heard me talk about my future recently because I'm thinking ahead and really concerned about the future of this country with our skyrocketing debt, thanks Joe Biden, Democrats in power, and Joe Biden's spending plan. The future looks grim for the U.S. dollar, which is why I started diversifying with gold and silver. We recently partnered with Hartford Gold, and I recommend you check them out. They sell physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or inside your IRA. When you call today, they will give you up to $1,500 of free silver with your first order. So now is a great time to check them out. Call 866-530-7996. That's 866-530-7996 or text America to 65532. In a world of fake news, fake social media, and fake money, invest in things that are real with real value. That's 866-539-7996 or text America to 65532. I officially this week started going back to like the gym.
Yeah.
Because it's fixing to start getting warmer, which means that, going to the lake will begin to happen, which means that I'll have to take my shirt off and things like that. And so you got to start leaning down, at least a good 45 to 60 days before beach time. Mm-hmm. So I do have a gym at my house, but what I have realized about myself is I do not push myself at all to the same extent that I push myself when I'm at like the real gym.
Yeah.
There's just something about being surrounded by other people that you just don't wuss out as quick.
I gotta look cool.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got these girls in there that are squatting just as much as you are, and you're like, wow, okay. All right, let me throw another plate on there really quick. We can't have this. And anyway, it is like right about there. Yep, there it is. It's real sore all up through here. And so, so I have begun that journey. So I'm miserable. Eating... I don't think I'm ever going to go on like a super strict diet again because I've been there and I've done that. Some of those pictures still live on the internet that I'm very embarrassed about. But you can't take them down. I've tried. It doesn't work. They're on there forever. But it is proof positive that I once upon a time was 7% body fat, man. And I did the thing and I was miserable. I was a repulsive jerk the entire time. Every single I don't care what you say. Sorry. If you are a bodybuilder or a athlete in that regard, you know what I'm saying is true. Okay. To get down to 7% body fat, you're miserable.
Yeah.
All the time. You are literally living your life to hit this certain pinnacle, knowing that there's zero chance you're going to maintain it.
Right.
It is to get to that point and then say, made it, now give me a pizza. and that is it. And so literally none of you would probably be listening to this show at all. There wouldn't be a show because I would have been such a jerk the entire time. No one would have ever listened to me ever. I really like food, but I've been eating really well during the day, and then at dinner, I'll just eat what I want to eat. Like I don't binge eat or whatever, but I just don't constantly gorge myself with bad food all day long.
That's the key.
That's the key. You can't eat Chick-fil-A at breakfast, then pizza for lunch, and then pizza again for dinner, and then along with cookies and all this other stuff every single day of the week. You can't do that, especially in your 30s. Anyway, so that has absolutely nothing to do with anything. There's an update of my physical life. You're welcome. Okay, moving on. So real quick, I want to talk about, first of all, Nike is suing Lil Nas X and Mischief, I think it is, which I am going to claim partial credit for.
Yeah, I called that one.
Because we brought that up and I made a video about it. And so, it couldn't have hurt. I'm not saying that we're fully responsible. But anyway, so, hey, I'm all about it. Like we said on the show, you can't just take something that is Nike's and then make it your own and then sell it, and it be so extreme without Nike being able to say, whoa, hold on a minute.
Right.
A lot of people responded, well, what about, high school football teams where the coaches go and they buy Nike shirts and then they get the team's mascot printed on it. Look, we're not talking about the Bears or the Wildcats.
Nike's
here.
not worried about them.
Yeah, Nike's not worried about them. However, Satan shoes with human blood in them, it's a bit much.
Sold by a famous rapper.
You kind of hurt your image just a little bit.
Man,
we're just becoming that cancel culture that we hate.
So good for Nike for doing something good, I guess. Nike overall, it's a weird thing for me. Okay, because now we are an apparel company. So on a very super small scale, you see some of the things here, right? Like the biggest issue that I think Nike faces, I'm not defending Nike and their use of, sweatshops in China or anything like that. However, we also forget that Nike is a worldwide brand as opposed to just an American brand. And so, I can't even possibly understand the cost margin efficiencies that they have to figure out and go through and regulations for different countries and this and that and the other. But either way, something happened here in America, had nothing to do with America, though. So apparently most of people can agree we all hate Satan. Most people can at least agree. I realize that there's some Satanists. I got it. But I really still believe that those are a really small minority of people that think that the devil is good. Anyway, congrats, Nike. Yeah. You're not Satan worshipers. All right. Moving on, I want to talk about, and I did a little live feed about this earlier. So if you saw the live feed, I apologize, but we're going to talk about it in depth here. So Yesterday, I posted a security footage reel on Instagram, like I do from time to time. And then I even made a video about it. And I tried to upload the video on Facebook, and Facebook wouldn't even let me upload it. They're like, absolutely not. It's too sensitive subject. You can't. No. Absolutely not. And what I mean by that is, to be transparent, when I say Facebook wouldn't let me do it, what I mean is they wouldn't let the monetization go through. And a lot of people probably think, well, what's the big deal about that? Just post it anyway. So what? You don't make any money off of it. Normally, I would say you're right, and I don't care. But as Jake can testify to, what happens on Facebook is when your videos aren't monetized, the algorithms are designed to kill your video and give all the reach to the monetized videos.
Well, because Facebook makes money too.
Exactly. Yes. They pay, I don't know what it is. It's like 50%, 55% or 60% of it goes to Facebook, and the rest of it goes to the creator, right? So the problem when I say things like Facebook won't let me post this, what I mean is they won't let it monetize, which means that you're not going to see it. Yeah. Is what it means. We had our lowest video and recorded ever last week, and it was our Real America thing.
Great episode.
It was an amazing episode, but it got completely no monetization at all, and it still hasn't broken 100,000 views. Which is never, it has never happened. But then the very next post I posted on top of it got 100,000 likes and all this other, like 30,000 shares. The very next thing, the same day. So it does matter. And now that you have that context in mind, that's what I mean when I say Facebook won't let me post it. Anyway, but I did create a reel, and I posted the reel on Instagram. Didn't think anything about it. Posted it. I said in the little caption, one of these men are a monster, is a monster. One of these men is a coward. We need real men to stand up. That was it. That's what I said. Obviously, it was very anti the obvious hate crime that was happening. And for those of you who aren't aware, it's the surveillance video of the 65-year-old Asian woman who was just brutally attacked by a black man who said the words, F you, you don't belong here. All right. Obvious hate act. Okay.
Right.
And then in the security footage, you see not one, but two security guards. Well, I think one was a security guard, one was like a bellhop or whatever. Either way, two grown men standing there watching it. They do nothing. They literally stand there watching it. Anyway, so I post that. So yesterday afternoon, I get back on Instagram and I have a post. Like as soon as I get on there, it won't even let me see normal Instagram. It's a post that says, I violated community standards, and they removed it. So they deleted it because I violated community standards. And the community standards they said that I violated was I was inciting violence, bullying, and harassment of individuals in the video.
I hate them so much.
That's what they said. No. That's what they said. So, and then
Hate
a lot
Don't
of you may be saying, well, what's the big deal overall? Well, the big deal was that was a community guideline strike on the Instagram page. If you get too many community guidelines violation strikes, they'll just delete your Instagram page. So I got a community guidelines violation strike being anti-hate crime and pro men stepping up to the plate. So that was the news yesterday. But then as of today, I find out, and if you literally go right now, I challenge you all. If you go to Sean King's page right now, the exact same video is still on his page.
Yeah.
All right, we just found out Bearfac has saved another life. That's 13 and counting. Look, guys, Bearfac, I talked about this. I have one in all of my vehicles. It has first aid gear that you need, that you don't know that you need until you need it. The average EMS response time is around 37 minutes. In an emergency, time is critical. For example, if you got an arterial bleed, you got about 90 seconds. That's it. That's why cat tourniquets are so important and so valuable. We had these all the time in the military. You need to go get one right now. And the best thing about these guys at refugemedical.com is if you ever use their products to save your life or someone else's, they will replace the components at no charge. So go to refugemedical.com and get 15% off all their first aid kits with the promo code GRAHAM. If I've learned anything, and if you've learned anything this year, it's to be prepared for anything. Refugemedical.com, that's refugemedical.com, promo code Graham. Sean King is a liberal leftist lunatic.
Yeah.
That we actually agreed on one thing for once. It's still on his page. If you go to TMZ Instagram page right now, guess what's still on there?
What did Sean King say about it?
Let's see.
Like, I'm interested. I mean,
let's see what he said.
If you would have just posted the video and said hashtag white supremacy, it would still be up and we'd have no problems.
Let's look. Here we go. Okay, Sean King's page. There it is. The second post. Here it is right here. The video. Exact same video. Yeah. Okay, it says, "My God, this makes my blood boil. This man walks up to a 65-year-old Asian American woman on her way to church in Manhattan in Midtown, kicks her in the stomach, then stomps on her head. She's in the hospital now. What's the man's name and location? I'm furious. What in the hell would possess someone to do this type of thing? Yes, I also see the cowardly security guard in the building just shut the door."
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I like how he doesn't say anything about race.
All right.
In this situation.
Well, neither did I.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything about race. Okay, so here we go. TMZ right here. Bam. There it is. There's the post. And TMZ says, a man brutally assaulted an Asian woman in New York City in the middle of the day, and nobody jumped in to lend a hand. The entire disgusting broad daylight assault at the link in the bio.
Dude.
So my question is this. These other people who are not me said the exact same thing. They showed the exact same video, and we all viewed it the exact same way. But yet I got a community guidelines strike against me for inciting violence, harassment, and bullying. And the worst part about Instagram is there's no appeal.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing you can do. It gives you a slide that says, we removed this. This is the community guidelines you broke. And the only button you can hit is okay. Like
Okay.
that, like that's it. Like there's no appeal process.
Real quick, where did that happen again?
New York City.
New York. Okay, so one theory I have is that security guard didn't do anything because he's in New York City and he sees stuff like that every day, and he's like, "Well, I can't carry a gun."
Well, we
It's
can
like-
talk about the morality here in just a minute. I'm talking about the double standard that
Sure.
exists
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
Right now, you can go to these other, and I'm sure on multiple other channels as well, and see this exact same video. Now, I don't want to, pull the race card, but it would appear as though the white Christian conservative guy saying it makes it automatically inciting violence, harassment, and bullying. But anybody else, it's okay.
What's all that privilege you got?
Well, that's what I'm trying to get at here. Does anybody else see what we're trying to say? Even on things that we agree on, the left, the right, the middle, the people who don't care, if the white Christian conservative says it,
Then you don't.
it's hate speech and it needs to be taken away. Why? Why do we have to do that? The video of the Asian guy being attacked on the subway station started getting mass deleted because it was so graphic, et cetera, et cetera. Why didn't it just get the, hey, this is graphic video? Like, that's what I expected to happen. I'm like, they're going to put a graphic, thing over it, and like you can choose to see it if you want to see it. Like, that's what I was expecting. I didn't expect them to just delete it and give me a community guidelines strike.
Yeah.
When I literally was the exact opposite of supporting what was going on.
Can you imagine if, like, we always flip the situation around? Imagine flipping this one around, where white people were going around attacking elderly Asian people because of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
There's huge hate crimes going on. And then all the social media companies, Facebook, Instagram, take down posts and try and hide the fact that white people are attacking Asians.
Conservatives would still be the largest people condemning it. Even then, we would still be like, you cannot do this. Like, because it doesn't matter to conservatives.
But
the race part doesn't matter. It's like, this is evil.
Controlling a narrative of racism, like, it just baffles my mind.
Well, and here's the other thing. So take away the hypocrisy of the fact that everybody else got to post it but me. Go back to Facebook and go back to what we've now informed you, because context is everything. Now informed you of what we actually mean when we say Facebook won't allow us to do this. Technically, we could hit it and post it, but you're never going to see it, because the algorithms are designed for monetized videos to go farther. That's just the way it is, period. We can't even show you horrible things that are going on and speak out against horrible acts, because things that are considered sensitive content in nature get demonetized, which means they don't get distribution, which means you don't see it, which means that's how they silence us without silencing us, right? Like, that's the loophole to just blatantly silencing. Now, Instagram, I legitimately believe that if they had an appeal process, I could have won. But Instagram they don't have an appeal process. Like, it's just gone. That was very concerning to me. Also, by the way, and this goes against, all this whole, we've talked about prison reform. We've talked about all this stuff before. The guy that did the attack, his name is actually Brandon Elliott. He's 38. Elliott was living at a hotel that serves as a homeless shelter near the attack. Elliott was convicted of stabbing his mother to death in 2002.
Sounds like a cool
So
guy.
this guy is a murderer out on parole.
Gotta love New York City.
But do you see? But this is what I'm talking about here. Why? And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with it. Why are we letting people that murdered their mother by stabbing her back out on the street? Why? I'm asking a legitimate question. I realize it was 19 years ago, but this dude stabbed his mother in the neck and she's dead.
Yeah.
And now he's living in New York City. He can do whatever he wants. He's just got a parole house that he goes back and forth to, right?
Mm-hmm.
How is this even possible?
Well, think about all those comments people were saying with the Boulder shooter. They're like, the fact that he was apprehended means that he's white. It's like, well, this guy murdered his mom and got out of jail, and he's black.
Yeah, this guy literally murdered his mother, didn't die, went to jail, got out for whatever reason. Like,
Attacked
why?
an elderly
Why?
woman.
I'm asking a legitimate question. Why is somebody who murdered their mother, what's first degree murder jail sentence in New York? Can we find out? I'm assuming it
4
happened
years.
in New York. Well, I'm assuming it happened in New York because he's living in New York now. He's on parole, so you would have to assume.
Well, we don't want to hurt the guy's feelings by putting him in jail for
No,
too
I just
long.
want to know what's the general jail time for first degree murder in New York.
A1 felony is subject to one of the following sentences: death, life imprisonment without parole, or imprisonment for a 20-year to 25 years with parole.
Okay, well, there you go. So he must have just got out.
He learned a lot.
But that's my point. So he got 20 years, 25. It wasn't 25 years. So let's say they gave him 25 years. So he got out early with parole. And then he brutally attacks an elderly Asian American woman in a hate crime.
Yeah.
And people want to know why police are on the defense all the time. All right, while many body armor companies rely on paid Instagram influencers to test their armor, Spartan Armor Systems uses an independent National Institute of Justice certified laboratory to scientifically verify the ballistic performance of their armor. That's why Spartan Armor Systems is the most trusted name in body armor by concerned citizens and law enforcement alike. Whether you're looking for concealable armor to keep you safe on the streets or rifle-rated body armor for emergencies, Spartan Armor Systems has the best products and customer service, bar none. Go to SpartanArmorSystems.com to get the highest quality American-made body armor and save 10% plus free shipping with the code GRAHAM. That's my name. Protect what's yours with the best quality armor in America. That's SpartanArmorSystems.com. SpartanArmorSystems.com. Offer code Graham. The whole thing to me is just, it's crazy. I don't know what to do. Everybody's like, use your voice, talk, do this, do this. What do you do when you can't?
GrahamAllen.com.
Well, but even then, Facebook is already going after GrahamAllen.com. Won't let us post stuff.
Well, do you guys know the latest Facebook news? It just broke.
No.
So, and this will be on GrahamAllen.com for people to read it because, well, I don't even mean to plug. Like, they completely censored it. Laura Trump did an interview with Donald Trump.
Oh, yes. Yep. I was supposed to
and
talk about that.
They scrubbed it. So I have all of the emails and stuff.
So yes. So I'm glad you brought that up because yes, you beat me to it.
Sorry.
So last night, Laura Trump on her show was interviewing in person Donald Trump. I think this was his first in-person interview he's had. He's had a lot of phone interviews, but I think this is his first in-person interview. And they posted it on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and all three of them deleted it.
Yeah.
And their reasoning was, if you post a picture with Donald Trump, it's fine. Okay, like they can't take that down. But anything that has the president's voice on it, speaking words, is automatically against their community standards and their community guidelines.
They got an algorithm
and
that catches his voice.
And it's done. It's done.
And
then a bunch of people were commenting on Laura's post where she showed that. And she's like, all of you the people commenting were like, all of you people are such sheep. Facebook doesn't write you emails like that. And then, my response is Facebook doesn't write you emails.
Yeah.
I get emails from Facebook personally all the time. What that means is that you are nothing to Facebook and you have no reason to get emails from Facebook.
Boom.
So
Roasted.
shut up. I mean, shut up. This is Laura Trump. Are you kidding me? You really think Facebook, you really think that they don't have, I have Facebook contacts. Are you kidding? when I got freaking demonetized, I literally was having conversations with Facebook during the entire time. Facebook was telling me, this is what you did wrong. If you do it this way for so long, you can get it back, blah, 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 blah. Yes, they do email you. Shut up. You're a moron. That was apparently everybody's favorite part of the last episode was me just saying, shut up. You're a moron the whole time. Shut up. You're a moron. Spoken like someone who's not popular on the internet.
Yeah.
Of course, Facebook doesn't email you. Anyway, the point is, we live in a society, to quote the Joker of Justice League, we live in a society. We live in a society that is okay with people just not being allowed to speak, not being allowed to talk. Whether you hate Donald Trump or not, like there has to be something within you that says we are going down a really, really dangerous road here, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
When Bernie Sanders comes out and says this is very dangerous, like we should not be.
Even Bernie Sanders came out. It was like, I don't think we should have deleted Donald Trump off the platforms.
A socialist, like
Yeah,
a
legit
little
socialist.
communist is like, hey, people should have the right to free speech.
Bernie Sanders is like that dog, and this is also from a Batman movie, like the dog that chases the car. And it's like he finally caught the car, and he's like, oh, this is a car. I can't bite this. What am I supposed to do? He's like the dog that doesn't know what to do if he actually catches the car, right? This is Bernie Sanders. He's been preaching socialism for forever, and now he's finally seeing it, and he's like, well, if they can do that to him, they can do that. See, that's what's starting to happen there. If they can do that to him, they can do that to any one of us, right? They can do it to anybody.
Yep.
Yeah, well, certainly.
It's just crazy, man. It's crazy, crazy, crazy times. What? You look like you were about to...
No, I just want to die from Facebook. Dude, Facebook, I'm going to have gray hair by the time I'm 25.
All right. Well, why this hairline didn't create itself, my friend. It did not create itself.
I got kind of a funny video.
Okay.
So this school board member is talking about how she's super irritated how people aren't wearing masks anymore, and we should still mandate the masks in school. And we can go full screen with this, but here we go.
Some things that are best for our local area, but some things might be best to follow the recommendations of the doctors. And I don't think...
What?
She can't even breathe. She's like,
does she have COVID?
She has a mask on, and she's like arguing for mandatory mask while she's about to pass out from no oxygen.
All right. So, okay, good. I'm glad you brought up that stuff. All right. COVID. All right, here we go. And this is where I really want to spend a lot of time. These vaccine passports that the Biden administration is throwing around.
Yeah.
I want to talk about them. And so I've started doing a lot of research on it because I want to know specifically, like, what are they talking about currently? I realize that everything can, I realize that a passport to be able to operate within a free society is a very dangerous slope. And I realize all the things that can be attached to that. But I wanted to know specifically right now, what do they mean by that? Mm-hmm. Like, what do you mean? When you say that you want us to have a vaccine passport so we can do things again, what do you mean? All right, so I went, and the only real page that's not either far left-leaning or far right-leaning is Insider. And so I was reading through this, and somebody said GOP lawmakers, of course, oppose it. Health experts say this is overblown. This is what health experts are saying. Vaccine passports, if done right and done equitably, can be a way to help us get back to normal more quickly. It can make all the things we love to do safer. Here we go. Traveling, going to sporting events, getting back to work, etc. That's the part I don't like. Okay, so, a lot of Republicans have come out and said, it's absolutely ridiculous for people to have to, disclose their medical information to be able to go do things. Now, I have even said, well, that's ridiculous because public school, you gotta have shots to get into public school. And a lot of people responded with that. It's like, no, we've been doing this for a long time. Like, there are things that you can't do unless you're vaccinated, right? Like public school. Public school is one of those things. But here's the difference, okay? For people that are non-vaxxers that don't want to vaccinate their children, what do they have? Anybody?
Choice? What?
They have a choice.
Yeah.
Freedom.
You can homeschool your kid.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a choice. Okay, there's a choice. You don't have to go to public school. You just don't, right? You can choose to homeschool your child, or you can choose to put them in the private school, which has more lax regulations. Some are actually more strict, but some are more lax. Sporting events. What? Like, since when have we required
The
people
flu,
to
yeah.
disclose their medical information to be able to go to sporting events? And I'm sure a lot of people are like, well, you know, in the grand scheme of things with people's lives, what's the big deal about a sporting event? Okay. They literally say get back to work.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're saying right now.
Anything.
To go back to work. That's what they're saying right now, right this second, to go back to work. So basically, now what they're saying is not only do you have to take a shot, which by saying that, they are mandating this shot. Because if you don't do it and this vaccine passport thing passes, you can't go to work.
Yeah.
Or even worse, you can't get a job. Also, they're also saying, this is something I'm pretty sure we've never done, because I'm pretty sure that people with HIV, hepatitis C, all this other kind of stuff travel on planes and stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure. People with cancer, people with... do you see what I'm saying? These people travel all the time. But not now. If we pass this, if you don't disclose what medical information that you have to prove that you have gotten something or that you don't have something, you can't travel or fly, right? Like, you can drive yourself, but Pete Buttigieg is going to tax every mile you drive.
He got roasted for that.
But they're serious. Nobody
Yeah.
cares. They don't care that they're getting roasted because they're serious. Biden's new infrastructure plan will cost $3 trillion. And I saw on Fox News, AOC was defending it. It's like, people are freaking out for no reason. It's not like the $1.3 trillion that we just passed for just this year. This plan is spread out over the next 2 years.
Mm.
That's literally the same thing. That's $1.5 trillion added this year on top of the $1.9 trillion, and then another $1.5 trillion next year. What are we doing? It's like
We're being conditioned.
it's like I'm taking crazy pills here. Anyway, back to the point.
I need some.
Back to the point. That's why I have a problem with this whole vaccine passport thing. Free Americans don't need permission to be free. You don't need permission to do that. We handled that a long time ago. All right. And unlike what we have done in the past, Hep A, Hep B, those are pretty standard vaccinations that you have to go to public school and things like that. You still had a choice.
Mhm.
You could just not do that. You could homeschool, or you go to private school that has, more lax conditions. We have never entered into a point where it's like, oh, well, you can't fly if you don't do it. But yet the person with HIV is that's fine.
Well, what they're counting on is
God forbid they get a cut mid-flight. Either way.
Yeah. What they're counting on is that everyone will be like, crap, I don't want to get it, but I want to go visit family, so they'll just bow down to it. When in reality, most of us aren't going to do it. It's like, all right, well, I'll drive, which in turn will screw the airline, screw the sporting events, and they'll have to, go back on it and say, okay, fine, come on in.
Maybe.
If we all just resist it.
Maybe. I mean, to be honest, the sporting events don't seem to have really flinched too much from the massive hits they took last year. In fact, the NFL just signed a $105 billion network deal.
It's all taxpayer money, right?
But that's what I'm saying. So all that took place was the advertising rates just went up on TV because everybody was watching them on TV. All right, your credit card company found suspicious charges on your card. That's simple. Identity theft. It's annoying, but they cover it. The type of fraud you really need to worry about is home title theft, a devastating crime that takes you off your home's title. This is how they do it. Your home's title is stored on the internet. These people forge your name and signature saying that you sold your house to them, and then they take out equity loans against your home until there is no more equity left. You won't even know it happened to you until the collection calls start pouring in. The instant Home Title Lock detects someone tampering with your home's title, they help shut it down. So let's get you protected right now. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you're already a victim, and enter radio for 30 free days of protection. That's the promo code radio at HometitleLock.com. But the biggest thing that sticks out, and as I said, this is just right now. Forget the fact that it could go to, you can't go to a grocery store unless you do it, or you can't go to, I don't know. What if they don't? At the height of COVID-19, I was sick with something else, and I went to the doctor, and there was a sign on the wall that said pretty much, do not come in here. Like this was a doctor's office, and it was like, if you are feeling sick, do not come in this office. Mm-hmm. How long until this vaccine passport, unless you've had the COVID-19 vaccine, you can't come into the hospital? What if the very first thing they do, if you're having a medical emergency, before the ambulance will put you on the ambulance, they got to check to make sure that you've got freaking the vaccine?
That would lead to a lot of desks.
But a lot of desk?
A lot of desks.
Anyway, the point is, and I realize that that's not what they're saying right now, but what they are saying right now is enough, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
You can't go back to work unless you freaking Florida. Thank God for Ron DeSantis, man.
Yeah.
Florida has already started. There you go.
Sorry, a little slow.
Yeah.
I was typing up some stuff.
Florida's already come out and said no.
Yeah, go get bent.
No, go get bent. We're not doing that here. You know what's going to end up happening? And this is Conspiracy Hour with Graham. This is what's going to end up happening, guys. We're literally going to end up having states that build walls around their own states.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
Southeast.
So Florida will become its own country.
Yeah.
Literally.
That's an easy little wall.
Florida's its own country. No, we're not doing any of that crap here. We're not teaching critical race theory here. We're not doing vaccine passports. We're not mandating vaccines here.
We have good elections.
Right.
Florida
yeah,
has.
our elections are in check here. Let's just forget the presidency stuff. Let's just all have governors, and we all agree to help each other in times of war. You know what I'm saying? Like our own United Nations, if you will.
Depending
right?
on how we got into the war.
Texas has already said no to critical race theory. Tennessee also said that. Tennessee is also, I'm pretty sure, banned transgender athletes. Kristen Ohm's under some fire. I think unfairly. Everybody's mad at her because she vetoed the transgender bill, which that's not actually what happened. She sent it back for a revision because there's some language in there that she didn't like. Not she does not believe that boys should compete in girls' sports. She absolutely believes that boys should not compete in girls' sports. And she's come out and said, no, I did not veto the bill. I sent it back for a revision.
Freaking layman's.
But what I'm saying is, so we do have to be careful as conservatives not to turn on our own like on the drop of a hat, okay?
Especially for uninformed reasons.
Right. I mean, and she's right. There is a difference between her saying, nope, I reject that bill. Men should be able to compete in women's sports. That's not what she did. She said, I don't like the way this one paragraph reads right here. I'm sending it back for a revision. That is different. Okay.
And
now, if she keeps doing it, then we'll have a different conversation. But as it sits right now, she has not vetoed this bill. She just wants a revision on one of the, like there's some kind of wording in there she doesn't like on one thing, and she wants it revised. That's it.
So, and it's political standard to sneak in like small rhetoric that could be big players like down the line, like a few years. So like even in funding bills and stuff, you'll find random crap that has zero to do with COVID funding or anything. So that's probably why. It's like she was like, "Whoa,
Probably.
this doesn't
Clarify.
This doesn't like add up."
Yeah. State governments have the same political battles that federal government does, right? Like they try to do the same crap. Anyway, the point is the conspiracy hour with Graham. I don't think we're going to have, the more and more that I see, the more and more that I hear, I don't think we're going to have legitimately this big civil war that everybody's talking about, where half the states believe in socialism and the other half of the states believe in this. No, I think the world is too small for that to happen again. I really do. I really think that the world is way too small for that. I think the more realistic thing is, and I realize I'm talking like worst case scenario stuff right now, but I do. I believe that the things that would probably happen most likely is states just go, you know what, man? No, we are not doing that here. And we are not doing this. And then what would happen is you would probably have, I would say I could probably count 20, 25 states right now that would just be like, nope, we're going to do our own thing.
Yeah.
And we're going to have operating agreements with all these other states for imports and goods and all this other mess. So the federal government would literally have to go to war with Florida. And then if they beat Florida, then they'd have to go to war with Texas. And then it would not happen the same way. Right. It just wouldn't. Also, there's a lot more freaking people now than there was back then during the first Civil War.
And a lot less people willing to fight.
True. And also the world is smaller here too. I think that if, and again, I realize I'm talking crazy, so I apologize here, but
I love it.
You know, it's just me. But this is just me thinking militarily in my mind. How could you secede if you wanted to secede from the Union or whatever, the nation, whatever? I don't think you go to war, and here's why. And I think every general in the Pentagon would advise against going to war internally in America because the world is smaller now, right? Back when we had a civil war, we were still separated from everybody. Miles and miles and miles of ocean, thousands of miles of ocean. Like China couldn't just be like, oh, okay, we'll be there in 10 hours to nuke you.
It took France like 3 months to even know anything was going on.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like if we declared civil war on each other right now, like Japan would be like, this is our chance. Let's go bomb the crap out of all of them right there. The Pentagon knows that. You know, that they're like, we can't go to war in this huge civil war with ourselves, because then who's protecting our borders? Well, nobody's protecting the southern border already, but who's protecting our skies? Who's protecting everything? Most of the nukes are in, you know, the red states. You know, I mean, it's not, I'm being serious. Most of the major military bases are in the red states. Things are different now than they were. Okay. They just are. They're just different. And so I think that, I think the much more likely scenario is Texas would be the first to do it because they're the only ones that actually have the legal authority to do it. Mm-hmm. So Texas would be the first to do it. And then through Texas, it would, the way it's looking right now, Florida would be a close second.
Mm-hmm. Alabama.
Your southern states would be the first ones, right? Because they have the better ability.
Georgia's a toss-up.
Even though Texas has the legal authority to do it, they've got to protect themselves on all sides, right? So Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, they at least have ocean behind them. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to fortify one side of attack versus, I mean, yeah, you have to fortify the coastline, but it's really hard for people, as seen in D-Day and all that stuff. It's really hard to storm a coastline. I mean, it just is. You can kind of see them coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
You know, it's just different. Anyway, granted, apologize for the for the going down. I'm just saying it would be completely different.
Well, to piggyback on that, like if there ever was some sort of like combat, like fighting against each other, it wouldn't be these leftist people that found these new like northern states. It'll be either UN troops or Al Qaeda or ISIS, whatever. These people don't have like moral ground to to die for. They don't have any like things that they stand for that they're willing to die for. They don't even want freedom. They want to take freedom away from people.
And I would venture to say that if it did come to combat with the military and the police and all that other kind of stuff, that I would probably say 70% would side with the people saying no to more government.
Yeah.
And
we're all willing to die for stuff.
Well, right. And there are a lot of staunch conservative people serving in the police departments, in the fire departments, in the military and things like that. It would not be that simple. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just wouldn't be that simple.
There'd be a lot of border crossings into Texas. Texas builds a big wall around itself. People would be trying to get in all the time.
Yeah. I mean, and then that would be just irony in itself.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta wait in line to be a Texan now.
Elon Musk is like the front of the line, like trying to get it. I'm escaping from California. Let me in.
That mean,
I thought they already moved there. Have they not moved there?
Yeah, and he's calling all of his engineers and stuff, like all the Silicon Valley
I saw him
elites.
put like a massive like hiring tweet out or something like that.
Yeah, he was like, "Come here,
move here now."
It's like when, or not. I guess he didn't finally get into the whatever. It's like Elon Musk. Texas is the promised land. Texas and Florida are like officially the promised land.
Florida is really making a push, man.
Yeah,
like here
real.
lately, Florida is really making a push to be like the new Texas, man.
Yeah. You should move to Tampa.
Tampa.
Yeah.
Lord
With
help
Tom.
me. If I move
Florida. Let's
if
all
I
go to
move
Naples.
anywhere to Florida, it's going to be in the strip underneath all the other southern states. That's what I'm doing.
Miami.
Like Tallahassee?
No, you would move to the most blue part of Florida.
I'm not. I don't. Listen, we gotta bring conservative votes
Everywhere.
Anyway.
Y'all's military strategies are terrifying.
We're
to me.
turning
They are
Miami red.
absolutely
I'm thinking
terrifying.
more beaches rather than military strategy right now. So.
It's more of a Trojan horse
I'm
kind of
thinking
thing.
like Scarface life, and Miami would be the number one place for that.
Anyway, it's really weird times we're in right now. I saw on Fox News today that the facilities at the borders are at 1,600% capacity.
Yep.
Ted Cruz was on there talking today that at the max, these cubicles can hold 120 people, and they like some have like 600-700 people in them.
Yeah.
There's
Crazy.
there's not 6 feet, there's not 3 feet. There's like 3 inches of separation. They're testing at a 10% positive rate for COVID-19 at the border.
One thing real quick about that, Kamala Harris, not doing anything about it. Well, she wants to defund ICE, decriminalize crossings. They stopped the border wall. She's for sanctuary cities and free health care for illegals. So she can't solve the crisis because she creates all the problems. that create the crisis.
And they're sending teachers for in-person instruction for the children at the border.
Of course.
Yeah.
But yet these same teachers are refusing to go back to work for your kids.
Here's the thing: they're volunteering. So
Yeah.
it's like they want to go help students that are even Americans, but when it comes to our American students, they don't want to help them.
This is the difference between a teacher and an educator. An educator is here in the United States, and there's many of them out there that are literally focused on the children. And any educator knows that their life is less important. Their risk to COVID-19 is less important than children's education.
Right.
That's why some are volunteering. And now you have these teachers who want to be professors at college and can't because they're not successful enough. And so they're like trying to be as woke as they can to get into any left-wing college that they can. And so now they're teaching to the detention
migrant
tanks.
kids.
Another thing that's happening at the border that I'll give Dan Crenshaw a lot of credit here because I watched his documentary where he went to the border a couple weeks ago, and it was something that I hadn't even thought about. So, I mean, everybody's paying attention to all of the obvious things: mass immigration, or illegal immigration, massive amounts of voter fraud, massive amounts of not being able to control the spread of COVID-19, et cetera, et cetera. But Dan brought up the fact that what people aren't focusing on and what might actually be the bigger story in it all, people aren't paying attention to the drug cartels in this whole thing.
Yeah.
So he brought up the fact of, after talking to Border Patrol and all this other kind of mess, that Border Patrol's actual job is not to stop illegals from coming over.
Right.
Like one of their primary jobs, terrorism and drugs. like that's actually like their primary job. So what's happening now, and this is something that I didn't know, is these canals. You literally hear like the jokes of like wetbacks, like people swimming to get here. Okay, well there really are legitimate like canals that you'll see like paddle boats of people coming over. What I didn't know is that these canals are controlled by the drug cartels. You don't cross those canals, even as illegal immigrants, without the drug cartels saying you can. And they charge $300 American per person to allow you to go. And then they
just to try.
But to like, you ain't even getting in the water unless you got $300 American per person. And then the drug cartel says, okay, yes, you can. And then what they do is they literally tell you exactly where to go.
They'll probably rape you too if they feel like it.
Probably. But then what happens is this, all right? While these Border Patrol agents are having to deal and now become babysitters, they're having to man buses, they're having to drive these people all over the place. Literally, the cartel then goes and flanks around them because all of the attention is focused on this one canal area. And Dan even showed it. He showed like, here's one of the main canals. And they had like these huge charter buses parked there waiting on them to like, literally they get there and they walk them straight on a bus and all this other kind of stuff. And he's like, all of the attention from the Border Patrol agents are here and all these other spots where we haven't finished the wall, by the way, the drug cartels just walk across. Unchecked, undetained.
Probably ISIS too.
Probably. And that is the even bigger thing here. So we talk about the freaking opioid issues within America, ISIS domestic terrorist threats within America. What if all of this stuff is this huge diversion, especially from the drug cartel? So we talked about the other day who's handing out the Biden t-shirts and stuff. Probably the drug cartels.
Yeah, I bet they are.
I mean, it's probably them. Hey, put this shirt on your way there. Get all the camera crews there. Get everybody's attention right there.
I just got off the phone with Kamala.
Yeah, well, yeah. And then we're going to go about 5 miles down the road that way, and we're just going to walk across because everybody's focus is on all these illegals coming over, and they're not even paying attention to the drugs. And so the biggest thing, and this is the last thing we need to talk about here, is the wall. Finishing the wall. Well, walls are ineffective. Well, that's not true. And Border Patrol has proven that time and time again. I loved what Lindsey Graham said the other day. He's like, we're politicians. Stop asking us. Ask the people that are actually here every day. And they'll tell you, is it possible for people to climb this 25-foot wall? Sure, but by the time they get over, we've already seen them doing it, and we're there by the time they actually make it over. But by not completing the wall, and Dan pointed this out too, there are geographical locations that you can't build a wall. There just are. But they create choke points to where the Border Patrol can focus the majority of their efforts on the choke point because they know that these other 800 miles have a big old wall around them with security, surveillance systems, and all this other stuff. So they don't have to focus so much time across the entire border. They can focus on choke points. Only complete insane individuals don't see that this is rational thought and rational thinking.
Also, my thing to these immigrants, like if you want to do this legally, we would love for you to come here and there's something for you to do somewhere and you can have a great life here. But what I would encourage the young men and the grown men to do is to have some balls and stand up to your government, overthrow your government. Like, I know it's scary and you might die, but like, you only have one life and you can either stand up and try and, live in your homeland of Mexico. I don't know. It's like fix your home country and instead of just running to the next best thing, I guess.
And Donald Trump, everybody loves to quote his saying of like, they're not bringing over their best people. They're bringing over their crime. Yeah. He was talking about the cartels, which like obviously needs to be specified. And then when you look at these people that are trying to seek asylum and whatever, Donald Trump was so in favor in bringing them into America. Like, he blatantly said in a speech, he was like, we're going to build a huge wall, and right in the center of it, there's going to be a big golden gate that says Trump right over it. And he was like, we're going to make it more efficient. We're going to make it easier to become a legal immigrant. And like, that's the policies that no one is listening to him say.
Right.
I'm going to end this episode with this day in history really quick. And I was reading it, and I read something, and it popped out, and I was like, man, if that happened today, it'd be over with. So this day in history was the day that Ronald Reagan got shot.
Crazy video.
And he ended up getting like a collapsed lung, rushed to the hospital, but he was in good spirits. And while at the hospital, he joked with the doctor, and he said, God, I hope you're a Republican. All right. Because,
Nice.
he had just been shot,
Yeah.
and he is that thing. And I got to thinking, my God, if he had said that today,
Yeah.
he
Canceled.
would have been canceled immediately. Even whilst bleeding on the table, please uncollapse my lung, making a joke. God forbid it would have been like an Indian American like surgeon or something like that. God, I hope you're a Republican. He would have been canceled. Ronald Reagan would have been canceled. Ronald Reagan wouldn't have made it a year in today's society.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. It's just, it's one of those things. The world is crazy, guys.
Toughen up.
At this point, I don't know. Like, I keep thinking it can't possibly get any crazier. And then it keeps on getting crazier every day. Something else goes out. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. Make sure to check us out on 912united.com.
Yeah.
Helps pay for all this stuff. And check out grahamallen.com as well. That's it for this episode, and we'll see you again next time.
Yeah.